and you look at why the cell genetic material was changing from maturation to developmental, the thing that seems to make the most sense is that the energy output and or the toxicity of the cell is changed to such a great extent that the cell is literally tricked into thinking it's a young developmental cell again due to the energy output and what's available there, which detoxification takes some energy.
That's fascinating.
You know, the longevity implications are staggering, because if you can take an old cell and turn it young again from a genetic standpoint, you know, how long is that sustainable? You know, I know at 52, I feel so much better than I did even at 25 in terms of aches and pains and energy level, and being able to cope with, you know, my helter-skelter schedule.
Isn't the fact that we live in a world of frequencies, and whether we realize it, it's irrelevant, because it doesn't change the fact that we are living in and breathing in and transacting in and resting in frequencies. It's something we have to now deal with now that we know that that's a fact.
Oh, if you don't protect yourself, I mean, you got look at cancer rates. Yeah, cancer, you know, is caused by a lot of food additives and, you know, bad stuff in the water and air pollution and smoking and every other thing. But I mean, when I grew up in New Jersey in the 70s, I mean, New Jersey was a pretty dirty place. But the cancer rate in New Jersey at the time was like 1 in 20 people. In the 70s, back in the 60s, when my dad got cancer, it was like 1 in 100 or 2 in 100. And now the cancer rate in the United States is 1 in 3 men and 1 in 4 women. It can't all be due to the food. It can't all be due to slapping sunscreen on every summer. You know, we are, and there are plenty of studies out there. In fact, in the sleep report that you can download off my website, I've got some studies in there that show radio frequency causes chromosomal aberration, changes, DNA breaks, all of these things, black and white. And yet they still will tell you that it's safe to hold a cell phone to your head, that it's not going to cause cancer.
There's a lot of people who insist on sleeping with a cell phone in their room or a cell phone right by their sleeping area. What do you think about that?
I think it's horrible personal hygiene. You know, having it on the nightstand near your head, not a good idea. EarthPulse under your bed, on your nightstand near your head, not so bad of an idea. Without an EarthPulse, be a lot better on the chest on the opposite side of the room. You know, if you have your wireless network in your bedroom, you should unplug it at night. In fact, as a courtesy to your upstairs and downstairs neighbors in an apartment, you should unplug the thing.
That's a very, very good idea. For people who live in apartments, listen to that. I don't know that you'll have cooperative neighbors, but maybe you will.
Well, I mean, you know, sometimes you move into a place. I just got into this flat here in Europe, and I know I can't sleep in the bedroom. Even with my EarthPulse, I just cannot sleep in that bedroom. So I don't know what's on the other wall, on the other side of the wall, in the bedroom. But, you know, I feel when I lay in that bed that there's a wireless network right up against the other side of the wall.
What is a ley line?
No, you're outside of my sphere of knowledge now. It has to do with, you know, dowsing and things of that nature, but that's a little bit outside.
But doesn't it also have to do with outside frequencies, electromagnetic interference, or some type of electrical interference?
You know, I just read a study about dirty electricity, and
that's what I'm talking about.
You know, it seemed pretty well put together. dirty electricity actually disrupts the glucose. The glucose metabolism, and actually can give you diabetes. I haven't gotten it linked yet, but it's kind of remarkable. See, just dirty wall current is enough to disrupt the sugar metabolism of particular people. So, as far as having a house over water lines or some magnetic vortex or something, I mean, there's so many possibilities.
I realize that Dr. Bob Delmonte is...
Delmonte, yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Bob Delmonte is on your board of directors. He's the senior editor of Muscle and Fitness magazine, and he's recently joined EarthPulse, I guess, advisory board. I was wondering if you could share a little bit about him. I guess he is claiming that he's able to have a 40%, is it 40% or 20% increase in strength?
Yeah, that little clip in the website, I believe he was up like 15 or 20%. You got to understand that Delmonte's 91 years old or just turned 90. So, I bumped into him at a trade show, one of the A4M trade shows in Las Vegas a few years back, and so he and I became quite close. He's got some issues going on with his wife. His wife had a stroke a few years back, so he was stressed out at the time. So the EarthPulse definitely helped him sleep. He exhausted himself trying to get his wife, who had a stroke, to use the device. There was some strong resistance there. Neither he nor I could figure it out, but
some people are scared of it. I mean, some people are scared of things they don't know, knowledge they don't understand, and, people don't often think of using devices for preventative purposes.
Electromagnetic scares the hell out of people.
It scares me. Electromagnetics scare me, the level of it. From the microwave stations that most people have no idea how close they're sitting to those stations and the power of them, to the flat-screen television sets we have, to the cell phones, to the wireless networks.
You can escape most of the biological effect from appliances and TVs and computers and all of that stuff. But you can't escape the radio frequency. Not unless you've got a Faraday cage or you've coated your windows, and because they've got film that's RF shielding film. I mean, unless you build a Faraday cage in your house or your bedroom particularly, there's no way to escape it. There's just no way. And if you can at least for 8 hours a day put yourself in a space that's friendly, that's conducive to sleep, that's conducive to charging your batteries, via these studies that show immediate effects at the mitochondrial level. There's, how can you be afraid of that? There's even research, with cancer. Very good paper. It's linked on my site. You can look it up on Google, Haltenwanger. And when they were going through cell lines and exposing them to different frequencies, guess which frequency they found was anti-cancer?
10 hertz?
10 hertz.
Does that mean that your device emits a 10 hertz frequency?
Well, okay, let me get one more step because we didn't cover this. This is very important. Back to the Schumann waves.
Okay.
A lot of people that listen to the station, hopefully they know who Bob Beck is. Bob Beck, the electrical blood cleansing, and Bob Beck, the colloidal silver guy.
Talk about his contribution. I know of him, but I don't know how many of the listeners know.
Okay, all right. Well, he saw a patent from out in New York City. I can't remember the name of the university medical center, subjecting AIDS virus to microcurrent through minimally invasive means, putting electrodes into the vein and electrocuting it as it passed through the electrodes, and found that it killed the virus. And so Bob Beck came up with a very simple device that you put on your wrist over the artery and vein, taped it down so that it was running parallel to the vein and the artery, and as the blood goes through your hand, it would hit it with a 4 hertz pulse. Well, Bob Beck was very aware of frequency effects, and he chose 4 hertz